As you can see, swim jigs have become a big part of my fishing arsenal, and I used to think the only thing jigs were good for was flipping or football jigs on the bottom, but a swim jig and a horizontal retrieve, almost like you're fishing a spinnerbait, can be just dynamite. It's almost like finesse spinnerbaiting, I guess you could call it. But that's our Strike King swim jig right there. It's actually the Hackney swim jig. It's got the heavier hook in it. And I want that heavy hook because I'm fishing my swim jigs on a heavier line. I'm either fishing them on braid or I'm fishing them on 20-pound Seaguar Tatsu fluorocarbon, which is probably my favorite because I fish a lot of clear water. And to me, the swim jig is at its best in the clear water, especially around vegetation, whether it's water willow, hydrilla, milfoil, whatever. You don't fish it by itself. I'm always wanting to put a trailer on it. The Baby Rage Craw is one of my favorite trailers. And the neat thing about the Strike King swim jig, we've got this little metal keeper here so that when you thread your bait on, this little spur actually digs into the back of the trailer. It will keep it from sliding down so you can skip it. You can do a lot of things with it. And I kind of show you what I'm talking about right here when I rig it. Just threading it on there just like you normally would, figuring out the distance. Now you pop it on. When you pop it on, you can see that just digs right into the back. So now it hangs perfectly straight. You got the pinchers out there where they'll work behind the bait. That style trailer is very, very good. And a paddle style trailer can be very, very good behind it. Weight-wise, 3/8 ounce to me is my favorite weight with the 20-pound fluoro. I can cast that weight really good. I can do a lot of different things with it. Other anglers like 1/4 ounce, some like 1/2 ounce, but most of the jigs you see in my swim bait box are 3/8 ounce. But that's my box right there. Now let me show you how I fish it. If you just envision you got a spinnerbait in your hand, you're probably not gonna go wrong. You're just throwing it out there, figuring out the speed. To me, just a plain old steady retrieve is as good as any. But what you want to do is figure out how fast you're going to move it, and your cover will kind of dictate that to a certain extent. If you got a lot of vegetation coming up off the bottom, you may have to reel it a little bit faster. And you might do a little jerk and a little change of action now and then, especially if you see a fish following the bait. But for the majority of it, the simplicity of it is what makes it so good. You're just throwing it out there, nice steady retrieve with it. Clearer the water, a little bit faster retrieve. You don't want them to get quite as good a look at it. So, dirtier the water, adjust your color accordingly and probably slow it down a little bit. I lean a little bit more towards setting it up like this, where it's a more compact bait, a little bit smaller, a little bit more finessey. Not quite the wiggle, just a little nice flutter of the Rage Craw trailer, the Baby Rage Craw. If it's positive conditions and the fish are very aggressive, I'll probably lean a little more towards the paddle tail. Or if I see they're feeding on bigger shad in the area, that'll automatically force me to put the paddle tail on because I'm trying to match the hatch. Or if I go to a Falcon or a Lake Amistad where there's big fish, I may not use the Baby Rage Craw as my trailer. I may use the regular Rage Craw to get a bigger target, a bigger profile, more pressure waves in the water. So it's dictated a little bit by weather conditions, and a little bit by the fishery itself. But man, what a killer technique.